everyone, thank you for joining me. If you're new here, welcome. My name's Rebecca, and if you've been here before, thanks for coming back. Now, got a good one for you today. If you're into makeup, I'm going to be sharing my 7 top tips that I've picked up over the years from 7 of the biggest, most famous, most successful makeup artists in the world. And I'm going to go through each of them one by one while I'm applying some products to my face using the tips that I learned from them. So let's get the headband in. Now, the first makeup artist that I learned a really valuable lesson from was Mary Greenwell. Now, she's been a makeup artist for many, many years, decades, in fact. And her tip is that when you're applying your base products, so your foundations and your concealers, her tip is to use your fingers. And she says the reason why is because the heat and the warmth from the skin on our fingertips really helps the products to, it warms them up and it really helps them to sink in and to melt into our skin. And she finds that she gets a smoother finish that way as well. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to apply my foundation now with my fingers. And the foundation that I'm going to use today is the e.l.f. Soft Glam foundation. And I use this in the shade 23 Light Cool. Now, I did a drugstore makeup video recently and it just reminded me of how great some of these products are. I mean, this is lovely. It's a medium buildable coverage foundation and it's amazing. It's so good. And it only costs about £8 or something. Can't believe it. So good. And it blends like a dream as well. And using Mary's tip here of doing it with my fingers means that I'm going to have no wasted product. I'm not going to be losing any of this product into the bristles on a brush, or it's not going to get soaked up into a sponge or anything like that. I've got no tools to clean at the end of the day. I just have to wash my hands and I'm done. Yeah. There, such a beautiful foundation, this. Really like it. Kind of reminds me of my Armani Luminous Silk, actually. It's got a similar finish to it. Lovely. Now, do you know Mary Greenwell? If you don't, I'd really urge you to look her up on YouTube and just watch her do makeup on somebody's face. It's just really fascinating to see her going at their faces. She does all this with her fingers and she's pummeling away. And you just think, oh, wow, you know, does that not hurt? Because she really does go for it with her fingers. But the people seem to like it, you know. They seem to quite like the facial massage in a way that they get from her. I think she's brilliant. She used to do all of the models, all the supermodels makeup, and she did Brooke Shields, she did a lot of actresses, she did Princess Diana's makeup as well for a while in the 80s. So she's a really knowledgeable, clever lady, is Mary Greenwell. Okay, so the second makeup artist that taught me a valuable lesson was Bobbi Brown. Now, Bobbi Brown was the first one that I remember to really talk to us about the importance of using a good concealer. And I'm not talking about the kind of concealer that we'd use to cover spots and blemishes and that kind of thing, but she would tell us to use concealer just in the dark hollow areas here under our eyes, wouldn't she? And any other places on our faces where we might have a bit of darkness. And I don't remember anybody else back then talking to us about correctors and colour correcting. She brought out a line of correctors, didn't she? And the idea behind those was that if your dark areas, if they have a blue or a purple tinge to them, if you use a peach or an orangey toned corrector, it would really help to neutralise that colour. And then you go in on top of that with your concealer. So thank you, Bobbi. I've been using concealer ever since I heard that tip, and I think it makes a big difference in just how awake I look. And the one I'm going to use today, I'm going to stick with the drugstore theme, and I'm going to use my L'Oreal Infallible 24-hour concealer, and I use this in the shade 327 Cashmere. And it's got a nice big thick wand, this concealer has. Like that. The drugstore, in the last 10 years or so. It's come such a long way with their makeup products. Formulas have improved, staying power's improved, colour choices have improved. There's still a bit of a way to go with colour choices, especially in foundations. But, you know, it's heading in the right direction. And I'm going to blend this in, as Mary Greenwell suggests, with my fingers. Lovely. I might have put a bit too much on, actually, of this concealer. A little goes a long way with this one. I've heard it's very similar to Tarte Shape Tape, this concealer, but I never used that one, so I don't know. But yeah, a little really does go a long way. Okay. So there we are, base is on. Really happy with that. Lovely. Now, the third makeup artist that I've learned a lesson from is Hannah Martin. Now, Hannah Martin, when she was younger, she used to work for Bobbi Brown, and you might have seen her on videos on here, on YouTube or elsewhere, doing tutorials and makeup lessons and things. And she taught me the importance of using bronzer, because I never used to bother with bronzer. I'd just go straight from this to blush and eyes and lips and just make do. But she really showed me just what you can do with a bronzer. It's not just about warming your face up and looking a bit more tan. You can actually sculpt your face with a bronzer. You can make your cheekbones look more chiseled. You can shape your nose. You can even use a bronzer as an eyeshadow just through the crease there. Make your eye look a bit more sculpted. And there's so many things you can do. It's a really versatile product, is bronzer. If you find a good one for you, that's a good shade for you, it can be really, really versatile. And the one that she always used to use was the Bobbi Brown bronzer in the shade medium. And I do actually have this same bronzer, and I love it because I do find it to be quite a cool toned bronzer. It's more pinky than orangey, which I find suits my colouring. So I'm going to use a bit of this now, taking Hannah's advice. I'm going to use my little Real Techniques multitask brush and just really get it in the bristles there. And I'm going to go into the hollow of my cheekbone just to make my cheekbone look a bit more sculpted. There, I think I'm going to go in with a little bit more. So many things you can do with this product. I love it. And that has just given a really nice sort of shadow effect in there, making my cheekbone look a bit higher. You see, if you compare it with the other side, you can really see the difference there. So let's go in on the other side and make this side look just as good as the other. And she also said as well, put your bronzer on the high points of your face where the sun would naturally hit. So across the forehead here, and down the nose, down the bridge of the nose, and a little bit on the chin. And it just really livens you up and makes you look healthier, I think, a good bronzer. Whenever I wear makeup now, I will never go without a bronzer because I just think it can transform your face. So that's Hannah Martin. Thank you very much, Hannah. Now, the next makeup artist on my list here is Patrick Ta. Because Patrick Ta really taught us all that it's okay to use a cream product over the top of a powder product. When I first heard that, when he brought those blush duos out a few years ago, I thought, really? Is he okay? Is he sure he's got that right? Because we were all taught, weren't we, that powder products go over the top of liquids and creams because it helps to set them. But then he came along and suggested that we all do it the other way around. So who am I to argue with Patrick Ta? I got one of his blush duos and I thought I'd give it a go because everybody was raving about it, saying what a difference it made. So I've got this blush of his. You have the powder colour and you have the cream. This is in the shade She's Seductive. And I've got my double-ended brush here. This one, I love it. It was only from Primark. It was really cheap, but I love it. And I'm going to do what Patrick suggests. I'm going to go in with the powder first, which is this one here. just onto my cheekbone area and blend it up. Love this colour, I think it's beautiful. And I'm going to do the other side. There we go. And then I'm going to do the controversial bit now, and I'm going to go in with the slanted end into that cream colour there. Okay. I was quite nervous the first time I did this. I thought, oh, it's going to go all patchy and blotchy and it's going to look really weird. But when I did it, this happened. I mean, can you see? Can you see that dewy glow that it's just given me? That lovely bit of sheen here on my cheekbone. It's absolutely beautiful, isn't it? And I don't know how it doesn't all sort of, you know, go all blotchy like you would expect, but it just doesn't. Must be something about the formula of these blushes, but I really like that effect. And I don't feel the need to use a highlighter with these blushes either, because that cream product, it does give you that little highlight on your cheeks there, which I think is really pretty. So thank you, Patrick Tar. Now then, let's move on to eyes. So before I start with my eyeshadow products, I'm just going to go over my brows. I did have them microbladed last year, but when I'm doing a full face of makeup, I do like to just go over them. And the makeup artist that taught us the importance of filling in our brows was Anastasia. And I don't actually know her surname, but her company is Anastasia Beverly Hills, isn't it? And she was really the first one to talk about brows. I guess after Shavata, there's a lady in Britain called Shavata that was doing brow products, but Anastasia really brought them to market, didn't she, in a big way. And she brought out all sorts of products, from pencils like this with the little fine nib, to angled pencils, to gels, waxes, pomades, the whole range. So thank you, Anastasia. I'm just going to quickly go in like this, little feathery strokes over my brow, just to sharpen them up a little bit. Yeah, it really makes a big difference when your brows are filled in, I find. There we go, lovely. That was a secret bonus makeup artist, actually, because Anastasia isn't included in my list here. Yeah, I didn't think of brows when I was writing this list. Okay, so the next makeup artist officially on my list, number 5, is Robert Welsh. Now, I'm sure you all know Robert if you're into your makeup and you watch YouTube. He's fabulous. If you don't watch him, please do go and look him up. He's great. And he taught me the importance of using a proper eyeshadow primer. So if you have watched some of my other videos, you will see me use concealer sometimes as an eyeshadow primer. Well, that's not best practice, because if you get oily lids, the actual proper eyeshadow primers like this one by Urban Decay, these contain an ingredient that actually stop the oils from coming through and messing up your eyeshadow, whereas concealers don't have that. So you won't get the best results if you use a concealer as an eyeshadow base. You really have to use a proper eye primer like this. So after I heard him talk about that and about the difference that it makes, not only in terms of the longevity of your eyeshadow, but of the actual colour payoff that you can get from your shadows as well, I thought, okay, I really, should invest in an eyeshadow primer, just on those days where I really, really want my makeup to last a long time and look as good as possible. So here we go. I'm going to go in with this on my eyelid there and blend it in with the ring finger. There we go, and some more for the other side. They do a few different versions of this now. This is called the Primer Potion by Urban Decay. They do an anti-aging one, which I might get next when I'm finished with this one. And they do one with a bit of a tint to it as well. So if you have any discoloration or any visible veins or anything on your eyelids, that might be a good one to try. Okay. That's that on. Now, the next makeup artist that I've learned a valuable lesson from is Charlotte Tilbury. And as I remember it, she was the first person to teach us about the windscreen wiper motions through the crease of our eye when we're doing our eyeshadow. That is something that I've done ever since, because I think it really does help to get into the socket and to really give that sort of dimensional shape to your eyes. And the eyeshadows that I'm going to use today, again, I'm keeping it drugstore. I didn't mention this palette in that video the other day, but I love it. It's by Maybelline and it's called Nudes of New York. Now, if you like your neutral eyeshadows, which I do, and if you're on a bit of a budget, you cannot go wrong with this. Look at those colours. They're absolutely beautiful. They really, really are. And I'm going to use this in today's video so that you can see for yourself. Now, I'm going to go in with this matte shade here. You've got a nice mix of mattes and shimmers in this palette. So I'm going to use this shade here, and it's called, what's this called? Creator, this shade is called. And I'm going to go in with my MAC 217 brush into there. And then I'm going to do what Charlotte Tilbury taught us all to do. And it's to go in like this, windscreen wiper motions. I'm going to pick up a little bit more. Like this. It's so easy to do as well if you have the right brush. And Real Techniques do brushes like this. In fact, a lot of the brands do, don't they now? Just go in like that. So we're keeping it nice and clean up under the brow. And here on the bottom lid, we're keeping it nice and clean. And you see what that does? It just gives my eye a lovely sort of a sculptural effect, doesn't it? And I'm going to go in again with exactly the same shade and do the other side. If you're a bit older like me, I'm in my late 40s and my eyes are slightly hooded, it helps just to hold the skin there just so it's not moving around when we put our eyeshadow on. Just go in for a bit more of that. Back in here. And backwards and forwards. Lovely. And that eye primer that I used, it will really help this to stay on for a long time through the day. Really like that. Thank you, Charlotte. Now, just because I'm here and I've got this palette and I want to play with it, I'm going to go in with this shimmery shade here on a little small brush like this. What's it called? It's called, hang on, let me just put my glasses on because I can't read anymore without these. Originator, it's called. Funny names. Makeup products do have some funny names, don't they? So this big shade here, and I'm just going to go along my bottom lid there just to add a lovely highlighty sheen. It's beautiful, isn't it? And this palette was $11.99 from Superdrug. Maybelline Nudes of New York. Have you tried it? I think it's fantastic for the price. I don't know how these companies can do it. And I do have the high-end eyeshadows. I've got Natasha Denona shadows. I've got a Pat McGrath palette. And they're the shadows that everybody raves about these days, aren't they? And yes, they are good. You know, they are very, very smooth and soft and easy to blend. But I'm just as happy with my eyeshadow look when I use this palette as I am when I use one of those palettes. The only difference to me is obviously the packaging. You don't get your mirror. It's, you know, the packaging isn't anywhere near as luxurious. And the formulas aren't as soft. So you do have to work a bit harder to blend the shadows. But apart from that, once you have done the extra work to blend them, once they're on your eye, as I say, I'm equally as happy with a look from this palette as I am from my Natasha Denona palettes. I really am. Next, I'm going to go in with this darkish maroony red colour here. And it's called Globetrotter, this shade. And I'm going to use my MAC pencil brush, like that. So just take a little bit of this on this brush. And I'm just going to go along the lower lash line and into the outer corner. I don't know who I learnt this from. I think that's just something I've always done with my eyeshadow. Again, it was probably from one of the ladies on one of the makeup counters. Probably from Estee Lauder years ago. That along there. 10 years ago or so, I would not have bought eyeshadows from the drugstore. The quality just wasn't there. But things have changed now. They really have. Yeah, I'm really, really happy with how that looks. Now then, eyeliner. I don't have a particular makeup artist's advice for eyeliner. I'm just going to wax them on quickly now. And I've got the Maybelline Lasting Drama Automatic Gel Eye Pencil. Looks like this. And it's a dark brown colour. What's it called? What's this shade called? I can't see a shade name on it, but it's the dark brown colour. They just do the one. And I'm just going to hold my lid still and just go along the lash line and just tight line a little bit underneath. Just makes my lashes look a bit thicker. And on the other side. Actually, now I think about it, I think I did pick this up from Bobbi Brown because she came out with some gel eyeliners, didn't she? And I remember watching her, I think it might have been on QVC actually. They used to go on there, didn't they, and do some demonstrations before we had YouTube to watch. I'd watch some of the demos on QVC and learn a few tips from there. And one of the Bobbi Brown ladies went on and was just talking about gel eyeliners and how they make your lash line look thicker. So there you go, I picked that up from her. And now, just because I've done my eyeshadow, I have to go in with the mascara, and I'm using my YSL Lash Clash in Waterproof. I think all the makeup artists would say use a good mascara, wouldn't they? Preferably in black, because I think you just get a lot more impact with the black mascara. Although I know all the colourful ones are coming out now, aren't they? I've seen a lot of blue and green mascaras in the shops, but I like my black. Okay, lovely. Now, the last makeup artist that I've got on my list here, who I learned a valuable lesson from, was Lisa Eldridge. I love Lisa Eldridge. Oh, she's taught me lots of things actually, but I think the most valuable lesson that I learned from her was the importance of using a lip liner. And a lip liner that's in a similar tone to your natural lip colour. And I remember watching a video of hers where she was talking about how to do your lip liner in a way that doesn't emphasise a downturned mouth. Because some of us, when we just relax our faces, some of us can look a bit sad because our natural lip line just sort of curves down slightly at the edges. And her tip was that when you use a lip liner, don't go all the way to the edge. Just go halfway and then come in slightly. So I'm going to show you exactly what I mean. So the pencil, I don't actually have a Lisa Eldridge lip pencil. I need to get one. But I've got so many lip liners. I just thought I want to use up some that I already have before I buy new ones, you know. But I've got the Maybelline Lifter Liner here. And what's this shade called? Let me have a look. The Maybelline Lifter Liner Mata Labra. Is that the shade? Surely not. That's a strange name, isn't it? Oh no, Line Leader. It's called Line Leader. It's the Maybelline Lifter Liner and the shade is Line Leader. And it's a lovely colour. It's quite similar to my natural lip colour if I show you. So we go over the middle, the Cupid's bow, which is this top middle area here. So we go over that. And then we take it down to the sides. But instead of, we don't come all the way to here. You see this line here of my lip? It comes all the way out to here, doesn't it? I'm not going to go to there. I'm going to go to about there. And then I'm going to go in. I hope you can see that because this colour is very similar to my natural lip colour, which is what you want. That's a good thing. And as we get older as well, we tend to lose a bit of pigmentation in our lips, especially the vermilion border, it's called. And that's the very, very outer line here. It tends to go a bit sort of white, a bit fleshy toned as we get older. So it's really nice if you can get a toned lip pencil just to draw that back in. There, and I'll do the bottom as well. There you go, and Lisa also says that if you have one lip fuller than the other one, you can overline the thinner lip so that it sort of looks in balance with the other lip. She does that herself, doesn't she? Because she feels that her lower lip isn't quite as full as the top lip, so she tends to overline, and yeah, it's quite effective on her. So there we go. Now I'm going to go over this with a lipstick, and I do have one of the Lisa Eldridge lipsticks. This is one of her luxuriously Lucient lipsticks in the shade Rose Official. Lovely sort of rosy pink. Really, really love this shade. There we go. Beautiful. And there you have it. Those are the 7 top tips that I've learned from 7 different makeup artists, and they have been game changers for me. They really have. So let me know what you think. Do you have a favourite famous makeup artist, or just a favourite makeup artist? They don't have to be famous, do they? Somebody that you really trust their opinion, and you go to them if you want any advice. Just let me know. So let's get the hairband out now and just give the hair a little bit of a zhuzh. So there you have it. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you again next time. Okay, bye-bye.